In today's show, we're going to talk about my hopes and dreams for 2021 in Star Citizen, and we're going to discuss where the channel is going. I've got some great information, so stay with me, and I'll be back after the intro. So, yes, Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo is back. And I know, yes, I've made many of these comebacks that I say, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be doing videos. I'm not going to say that right now. Instead, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you and tell you, I'm probably going to do a few videos, disappear, and come back again. I hope that's not the case, but that may be what's going to go on. You see, COVID has destroyed my way of life. It's destroyed my rhythm. And I know I was already on the downturn before it hit, but I had all these things in my head about how things were going to go, and it just didn't work out. I mean, I built a studio. I have a studio. I'm sitting in it right now. I have this amazing setup for me to do these videos, and I haven't been doing them. And I decided that December was going to be a good time to make a comeback. But Thanksgiving week, I'm sitting on the couch with my roommate and her daughter, and I'm looking at a website that I go to once a week because we self-test for the company that I work for. And I look down and it says that I tested positive. Not for the test I was looking for, but for the test that I had taken 5 or 7 or 10 days prior to that. It was a bit more than that. And the test that I had just sent in that I was waiting for results on had actually sat on the counter for quite some time because I was relying on somebody else to send it out. And when I looked on the counter a few days later, it was still there. So let's just say this. There was this debacle of events that just happened where it looked like I tested positive. Well, I brushed it off because I had a negative test also. And even though it was older, which I didn't put one and one together at that point, I just felt like, all right, I'm good. Lo and behold, 8 days after the test results, 10 days after the test was sent in, 16 days after the current test was, it's just crazy, the dates that I'm talking about. I started showing symptoms, I got sick, and my energy was gone for December. I had so many great plans for December because I had information, and I had to wait for a certain event to happen so I could talk to everybody. And I just never got the strength, I never got the energy, I never got the motivation to sit down and do a video because honestly, I question, am I relevant? So I'm going to tell you why the channel's been on this ping pong, or not even ping pong, this, I don't know, it's more like a sine wave, right? It's like, I feel like I'm going to do a lot, then I do nothing. I feel like I'm going to do a lot, and then I do nothing. And it's really because there's been this realization that I've had about YouTube recently, and it's negative videos really do well, and positive videos generally don't. You could build a following, you could build an audience, but when you really need that one video that's going to get you a lot of views and a lot more people to join on, it's going to be negative. And I just don't do negative videos about Star Citizen. I am critical, I am salty, I am disappointed at times, but generally I don't do negative videos. And there's a reason for that, and I'm gonna come clean with it with most of y'all right now. Years back, there was controversy in the Star Citizen community over people, over certain people in certain positions. And because of the controversy, I started talking to somebody and made friends with them. And I became close friends with them. And I host them in my home for weeks at a time at points. And that person, of course, is Sandy Gardner. And I know that I'm not going to edit this video because I want it to be my thoughts that come out so people know what's been going on. But I've been really fearful that when I do these videos, am I going to be open-minded? Am I going to be fair? Am I going to be someone that drank the Kool-Aid? And it's hard. And the other pieces of that are occasionally 5% of the time, not 95% of the time. I have information I can't talk about. And when I go do a video and there's controversy out there, I can't address it because I might know something that totally contradicts what people think is happening. And I'll give you a for instance, okay? There was some information that I had because I had to talk to Chris about some personal things that were going on with trips and presents and all sorts of things that were going on in our lives, like in their lives and my lives. And we had a conversation. It was like 30 minutes long. And then I talked to him about Star Citizen for a little bit. And really what he discussed with me was about building tools to make it easier for cities and space stations and landing areas and moons and planets and asteroids to be built quickly. They had been spending a lot of time building those tools, not actually building those areas. And I had this information and I surmised what was going to happen. I couldn't say anything until they announced that Turbulent was going to be a studio that was going to start making planets, and everything fell in place. I had information. Chris and I were speaking, and I couldn't speak to you all about it because I did not want to ruin that friendship because it's very important and dear, and I really don't want to ever do anything to mess that up because they are great people. But I had information, and I was like, I could use this, and I didn't. And I feel like if I'm going to be doing these videos, there's going to be times that this happens over and over again. So now that that's over, I'm going to tell you what we spoke about. It was nothing big. Chris and I were talking. His daughter and I play Satisfactory together occasionally because she stays with us and we need something to do to stop from being bored. And he was talking to me about building out cities and building out places and building out settlements that we could do. And the information that he gave me was rather, it's not a big deal. It's not earth-shattering. Everybody probably figured it out by now. He was talking in terms that I understood. And what he was saying is that when you are all building your outposts and the places that you're going to inhabit, he wanted to be like Satisfactory, where you lay down the pieces that you want, you put them in exactly the same shape, exactly the shape and placement that you want, and you make it your own. But that can't happen for building out planets and asteroids and landing zones and cities and, So they had to do it on a different scale that was more like something like city skylines or something. And it's got to be something that's much more intricate, but also something that's easy and fast and quickly done, but also still has that believability that these things work. And when an artist or developer is placing down an asset on a planet, it has to be placed with the things that go with that asset. The connectors for power, for water, for whatever else that they need. So he was explaining this to me, and I started thinking, wow, if this is what he's talking about now, there's got to be something that's going to accelerate the rate that we're going to get planets and asteroids, solar systems, whatever, star systems, whatever it is in the future. And then 2 weeks later, of course, we get the announcement that Turbulent is going to be brought on board to build out planets, to build out star systems. And I just smiled and said, I was 2 weeks late and couldn't do the video because of my relationship. So that's where I'm at. I don't get a lot of info. When I'm with Sandy, we don't talk about the game. We talk about children, we talk about our dreams, our life, we talk about work, we talk about things that have nothing to do with Star Citizen. And if Star Citizen does come up, it's 1 to 5% of the time that we speak, depending on when we speak. And really, they've been here for a week now, and we talked about it once. So to be honest with you, when I do get information, it's far between. And when I do get information, it's something that's significant enough that I can't talk about it. So it really does hamper my ability to be open-minded, to be fair and balanced on my show. And I challenge myself because if I'm going to be here, even as a YouTuber, I see myself as a pseudo-journalist that needs to adhere to certain ground rules. That when I speak, I know that the information I give you is true, and that when I speak, I know that the information I give you has been vetted, and I've looked at it, and I've made sure that it's actually going to happen. So that's all that. So I don't know what to do, because Star Citizen is so near and dear to me. This is a game that has changed the way that I game. It's changed the way that I think about other games, and it's changed the computers in my house. Because I have 2 PCs, I have my Mac, which we'll talk about in a second, and I have 3 old Amigas, 2 Amiga 1200s, and an Amiga 600, and every one of them have Wing Commander 1 on it, because that's where I played the game for the first time, Wing Commander. And I am amazed that they still work, and I'm amazed that the game is still fun on that platform. So 2021 is here, and thank God 2020 is behind us. Even though the turmoil and, well, I'm not going to get into what we just experienced, because I'm going to leave that for the regular networks, but I'm appalled. I'm just embarrassed for our country right now because of what happened last week. But 2021 is ahead of us, and I want to talk to you a little bit. And this is something that I've been saying to my friends that join me in Discord. If you ever want to join us in Discord, if you ever want to be part of my group, just put it below and I will post how to do that, because we have some good times. And we do chat about everything, not just about Star Citizen. Hell, we were talking about quantum physics the other day. But I was thinking last year, and I'm thinking about it from a different perspective. So, when you're looking at Star Citizen, you have to know Chris. And I don't know Chris as well as I know Sandy, so this isn't something that I am saying from being on the inside. It's something I'm saying from following him for years and years and years and years and years. Chris's games are a production that's no different from a production of a movie. So movies have certain things that happen at certain times, and the schedule is absolute. So you don't start putting out trailers, you don't start putting out teasers until you're a certain period of time away. And usually that's about a year. You put out a teaser trailer. And in about 9 months, you do your first big trailer. At 6 months, you do another. At 3, you put out the last trailer. And then it comes out 10, 12 weeks after that. And so now we have to talk about logistics. And we have to talk about the distance between each one of these studios that CIG has. Especially since they just brought on another one. So CIG is in LA, Austin, Montreal, the UK, because they have multiple offices there, and they're in Frankfurt. And Chris needs to be able to travel between all of these locations. And in 2020, we were buggered to hell and couldn't get that done because COVID screwed all of our lives to hell. So who are we to think that working from home was going to be the right thing for one of the most ambitious games conceived to get completed? It's not going to happen. Squadron 42 is not coming out in 2021, and it's not CIG's fault, because if you look at Marvel, if you look at Warner Brothers, if you look at Sony, if you look at other game companies, productions have been held up. And the reason I use the movie studios first is because Chris is a producer, director. Every game he's given us has been a production of a film. That's the way he thinks. That's the way he writes these things. So we were all waiting with bated breath for something to come out, some kind of trailer, something to show us the big reveal of Squadron 42 sometime between October and December, and it didn't happen. Duh, it wasn't going to happen because COVID screwed 2020. So what I'm telling you right now is just close your eyes and understand that it's going to get done. Be grateful that we got almost to the end of this COVID crisis. If you live in the US, you're right in the middle of the worst of it, but we're going to get through it. And we're going to get to the other side of it. And then Chris is going to be able to fly between all of the studios and be able to get this done. And he has to, because we still have episodes 2 and 3 coming right after this. So Chris has to be James Cameron with Avatar with the next 2 episodes of Squadron 42. So my predictions are this. November of this year to December, we'll get that teaser trailer. And that starts the countdown for 1 year. I know it's tough, but we have to look at it. Everything in our life has been turned upside down. A lot of things that we wanted, we can't get right now. I mean, try to get a graphic card, try to get a processor. We know what COVID has done to the world. And if you're upset or disappointed, I'm right there with you. So now let's talk a little bit about Star Citizen as not just the game, not just Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, but as an entity of its own. What else can this be? And that's something that we have to start thinking about. Because Squadron 42 and Star Citizen are woven together like a tightly nice piece of linen, right? One's the embellishment and the other one is the actual tapestry. Whatever you want to call it. They are tied together. And the way they're tied together is this. Squadron 42, the single-player campaign, filters even more players into our game, which fills that world, that universe with players and makes it a much more interesting, diverse, and fun place to play. And we need them to come out together. But when I'm saying that one is going to take a little bit to come out, Squadron 42, it's going to be a bit. I'm not saying that doesn't mean that there isn't development that isn't going to be going on Star Citizen. They're 2 completely different games. The single player game does not need things like iCache and server meshing. You might think so, but drop-in multiplayer is not multiplayer on the scale of Star Citizen. So those things aren't what's holding up Squadron 42. Assets are, and just getting the production done. And those are things that happen in games, especially like this. Those are things that happen in animated movies. And that's where we're at. They just need to get through the next piece, and it's going to be a bit, and we're going to get there. But you're going to see a lot of development on Star Citizen. You're going to see iCache and server meshing. You're going to see physicalized inventory. You're going to see new ships. You're going to see new zones in different planets. You're going to see new star systems. You're going to see things that we haven't seen before. But we're not going to get a finished game. We're going to get a lot of technology this year. We're going to get at least 2 more star systems guaranteed because Nyx is something they're probably going to roll out pretty fast right after Pyro, because it will probably be the first one that Turbulent works on their own. And I know that we've been here for a long time. I did my first video in August of 2013, and here we are in January of 2021, and we're still talking about this. But for those of you that are close and have been tied up in this from the beginning, you always knew this wasn't about a single game. You knew this was about an idea coming to fruition. You knew this was about a universe being created, but that boy with a huge smile that wanted to fly a starfighter. You knew what this was about. And we're getting it little by little. I still go into the game all the time, and I'm in awe of it. Even though I've played games like Cyberpunk, and even though I play games like Assassin's Creed, Valhalla was a good game. Cyberpunk had its moments of major bugs, but it's a good game, and it's a grand game. It's filled with thought. And even though there are games that are seemingly passing it, like Elite Dangerous, not really, because it's not on the same scale regardless, it's something that we knew it wasn't going to follow any calendar. It wasn't going to follow any schedule. It wasn't going to follow any path that any game has followed before. So what we're doing right now is we're just waiting for that tree to bear fruit, right? We're waiting for it to happen. And I'm telling you, it needs time to ripen. But I'm excited nonetheless, because I see so much coming over the next 12 months and then over the next 24 months. 2021 isn't going to be a complete reversal of all the garbage that we went through in 2020. It's actually going to be a lot more of that garbage that's going to be fading away over time, probably by the fall. And then things start to pick up, whether it's for us or it's for the TV shows that we want to watch, the movies that we want to go to, the other games, or even just buying a graphic card, which you can't do right now unless you want to spend the thousands of dollars the idiotic scalpers want you to pay. All of this will be over by the end of the year, and then we can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that things are going to happen in 2022. And I am sorry it's going to be that way, but that's the way things are going to go. But I'm still excited. I'm still sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for the things that are going to happen. I think we're going to have a good year in Star Citizen. I think we're going to see some really nice new ships. We're going to see some really nice new star systems. And we're going to have a lot more to do in that game. And Squadron 42, people, 2022 isn't that far away. It's not that far away. And when we get it, it will be well worth the wait. Okay, those are my thoughts. And like I said, my intentions are to stay around and do videos all the time. And yes, I know the road to hell was paved with good intentions. I promise you this. I'll be here, and I'll do my best to overcome the challenges that have kept me from doing videos for so long. If you like this video, please click that thumbs up button below, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe so you get notified of all the future videos that I will be doing. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I will talk to you soon.